I would assume it has to be some pretty deep water given the ships going.
Exactly, right. So, whatever. There's some way that they cross the water at that point.
That's a pretty deep hole.
Yeah. So, that I think is our orientation for where we are, which is here at the academy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which is there somewhere. Just trying to think of the map of how deep.
I will take a look here. Actually, it's just here.
Okay.
Which would mean that it is technically the ocean is just right above you.
All right.
So then, so running along that way. Okay, so the interesting part from your standpoint is our two friends are meeting an Undregi fellow who is willing to show you some of the enchanted what is the word? The enchanted riches of the mausoleum. Now, this is not entirely nuts because the mausoleum, as you can see, is this little isolated mausoleum. It's not in use in the sense of somebody dies and goes there now. This is a very, very, very old mausoleum, and it's part actually of the academy.
Okay.
So it's still, revered, but it's not considered tremendously terrible to go there with the proper academic credentials and stuff like that. So, but it's considered a historical treasure, not our sacred burial ground. That's certainly somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, your contact is Araxamander, and he is a chubby fellow, and it's necessary. Now, rats by themselves are certainly not allowed. The Undregi of Trench are not as prejudiced against rats as most Undregi, but that doesn't mean they're going to let you run around down there, because this is property as far as they're concerned. And after many discussions, they have come to realize that that's just not going to go over entirely well in application. Even if the rat says, that.
I'm excited.
In application, it might be a little more tricky.
Yeah.
So that means that you need to have basically a chaperone, or at least somebody who has brought you down, or you have brought down, because this is an enchanting thing. Okay, this is something that your mentor has said is something that you ought to do. You won't know anything until you go down and see the enchanted gems of the sarcophagi of the mausoleum. What do you know until you see those things? So swinging that has been a little bit tricky, but has succeeded with your influence. You know one or two of the musty academics of the quiet, hushed tones of the academy. More than one of them may have met you.
Most likely.
At some point. And so therefore, however, it's still a little dubious. Araxamander is a guy who a guy said he knew.
Worse?
Yeah, and so a low level, junior academician who might be just the guy
Maybe.
to get you the credentials and to show you into the mausoleum.
Yeah, not the most formal of them, shall we say, like the most well integrated into it yet.
Right. Think graduate student.
Yeah.
So, you know, both of you might have said, really?
Whatever is needed.
But apparently it is not really going to work for you to go down more formally and with more assurance of legitimacy. This might be dubious, but it seems to be the only way. So, any suspicions you may have are probably made worse or more pertinent by the fact that Araxamander waits until a group of debating sages, you know, gesticulating with their big hands about something or other, discussing the merits of something or the nuances of some spell or something like that, have passed, and it might even be a very interesting conversation. Go ahead and roll cognition. See if you can pick up. Well, you don't have the magic.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, and it is in fact a 2.
Ooh.
And your cognition is
8.
so now you have beaten it by 6, and you have succeeded in fact, and so therefore that means you pick up actually the possibility of learning this thing or two. What they're talking about regarding the enchantment sounds really quite good.
I'm all ear. Literally, like, I'm distracted and my head is kind of moving.
Frenea is the name, right? Frenea's tomb. The work must be done to restore the cage. Work must be done to restore the cage and to increase the we need to get some patrols down there. Somebody else is saying patrols in the in the mausoleum, and then passes on. But Frenea actually is familiar to you. This actually is a significant enchantress, an innovator, and a genuinely significant member of the founding community.
Interesting.
Yes, that.
I would have said if I knew.
Yeah, of course. And so therefore there is there's relevance for enchantment.
Okay.
So that's what you hear them talking about. And when they pass, and it looks as though Rena is about to herself go probably scampering after, in the shadowy dark of the mausoleum, I assume lit softly in some subterranean fashion that I haven't really figured out yet, but it's got to be cool.
Yeah.
You hear a psst over here.
Yeah.
Kind of undecided.
Yeah.
Looking up, I notice who our provider is, like who the one that somebody knew was talking about.
You haven't met him now.
No, exactly.
Right.
There is some immediate skepticism, but it's also like the best we could get.
I hear you.
And honestly, I have seen much worse.
Probably, yeah. I mean, he is legitimately in the robes and everything.
He is
a junior grade, aspirant academician.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily expecting some high-ranking sorcerer. It was more so, well, maybe something better because this is the lowest of the low.
Right.
But
graduate students.
It works.
I can't argue.
Again, it's just gonna have to work.
So he will, look about and say, we don't have much time. I can show you some of the most important things, and kind of looks back and forth between you, not quite sure who his client is. He says, excuse me, do I have this correctly that you want to see the enchanters?
Yes.
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 All right.
The
Yeah.
Want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we asked for. Yes.
He wasn't expecting a rat, so he swallows a little bit and says, "All right then." And then he just at the top of the stairs, which don't have a door. They don't have a door.
Yeah.
It's more of an archway, and then the stairs are going down. Just at the top of the stairs, he turns and looks at you and says, "Try not to smear anything on anything." And
Excuse me?
no offense. He just doesn't know what to think, basically. So and his social skills are
Yeah, and
off.
so there again, I've seen worse.
Yeah.
There's growing skepticism now.
Right. He's not making a good impression for us.
No, but again.
But it is true that upon going through that arch, he does raise his hand, and the air shimmers as his hand passes through a certain portion, and you two are free to get down the stairs.
Okay.
So maybe there was more of a door there than you thought.
Yeah.
So heading down there, though, the lights are significantly dimmer, out of respect. Although people do need to see down there, so there is some light. It is quite dim, and you proceed down into the mausoleum itself.
All right.
Thoughts on what you might want to think about, investigate, either of you,
Well,
as you look?
I'm more so here for
Correct.
the purposes of being able to help my friend actually make it down here, because it would be pretty hard for a rat to do that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So there isn't really all that much. I do come from a land where magic is very well integrated. Can't say I am the most integrated with said magic.
But you're not weirded out by it.
No, I'm not necessarily. I'm used to magic.
Yes, that's true.
Something perfectly ordinary for me.
I would like you to socialize a little bit. The dude really seems uncertain. And he says, he actually says, "Well, I don't really know how much time." He's trying to hedge, right? Maybe if we're only there for a few minutes. So the point is, can you influence it?
All right.
That's your zone. If you look at your skills and
that is pretty. I think I have 14 in personality and 12 in willpower. I am pretty darn good at it. Reason, not so much.
Check out your skills.
Skills. Oh yeah, right.
He's a little bit annoying.
Oratory.
Well,
I have skills.
He's about to cut things short because he's nervous.
Yes,
I'm skilled in oratory.
That's more about dealing with groups.
Yeah. Speak Undregi. I can do that. I have my priestly secret. I have.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at some of these things that I want to.
I don't really see any skill that would make it easier to influence a single person.
Let's see. Non-personalities.
Oh well, it is my job to influence a single person, but I don't really see how my skills would match up for that.
Okay, it may be a personality role.
If there's one thing I'm good at, is making people like me.
Yes, and
he's supposed to like me.
Well, you can.
Well, you can just
you can
tag along for the ride.
You can tag along. That's exactly right. And I just want to quick check on one or two of the. I'm trying to think whether he's not going to oppose it with a roll. It should just be a difficulty.
Yeah.
And so therefore, the way that works is your skill. So roll personality.
That is is.
Oh no, that doesn't look good. That's a 28.
Yeah, that's absolutely 20. Yeah, that's absolutely horrible.
That's right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so basically,
all the bad rolls were used up yesterday.
yes, that's right.
Not
The good
yesterday,
ones,
2
yes.
weeks ago.
And so you are basically, by the time you get to the base of the stairs, you've successfully like rubbed him exactly the wrong way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, whoa, he's like, this isn't like some enchantress. I'm here with a rat and some sort of,
Yeah.
other word. So he doesn't say this out loud, but he's clearly saying, well, we really shouldn't be here. I'll show you one or two things here.
Yeah.
So he's really not
in an
handling this well.
attempt to save it,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to, maybe not exactly now, but in a bit, try to essentially just like, I would assume my character is good at reading someone, like
Yes,
understanding a person. That would be noticing that he would be getting more nervous.
Absolutely. That's
So I
no
think
problem.
a thing I think would be worth mentioning to him, maybe not as like a big drop of information, but just like more casually, would be that this rat is studying under a rather well-known enchanter.
Yes, I hear you. And to make it legit for a roll, things are going to have to change first.
Yeah.
Right. So therefore, let's take you through a couple of points.
Okay.
Point number 1.
Yeah.
There is a wretched stench, just a terrifying, awful, nasty smell all of a sudden of rot. I mean, it actually smells pretty nice down here. It's nice and cool, there's great ventilation, no sense of, the monuments and cenotaphs and sarcophagi and everything are impressive and full of interesting details and stuff like that, but they are definitely not rotten and oozing or anything like that. And unfortunately, suddenly it absolutely smells as if they are.
As a character pretty used to the better side.
Oh yeah,
that's a pretty strong reaction on me.
You're like,
very clear disgust.
Mm-hmm. And the and Oroxamander is like, what's that? Equally, just completely baffled. This is not normal, and he's not prepared for it. So he even says that like out loud.
Okay.
So.
In which case, I say, shouldn't we find out?
That even I am skeptical about.
They both look at you.
Yeah, I do not want to get closer. I do not want to associate myself with this.
It's hilarious.
If this spreads onto me, it will ruin my work for a week.
And you guys have just turned like one corner too many away from the stairs.
Yeah.
Right. And it was about this point that Oroxamander was ready to turn back. Because he was like, okay, and then this stench hits.
Yeah.
And so the first thing that you'll see is that actually, let's go ahead and roll for some awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah. And they're not being stealthy or anything. It's just a matter of whether you have time to react or not. Ooh, that's a good one.
3.
What's your awareness?
I'm trying to find my awareness.
Oh wait, sorry, cognition.
Cognition's 8.
Okay.
So it's 7. No.
5.
5. Can't.
Oh no, 23.
Oh.
And so you have failed your roll.
Mm-hmm.